up, family? Today I tried to put on a face of makeup to prepare me to put on eyeshadow. I was like, oh, no problem. I'll just go ahead and put my foundation on. Things didn't go well. I don't really know. I just blended and blended and blended, and I actually don't know if there's any definition to my face at all. The trucks are back, so that's good. If you hear backing up noises, it's just, you know, industrial earth movers clearing land to build houses behind me. Today we are going to be playing with the all matte Natasha Denona Safari palette. This girl is brand new. In fact, I got a text message from Beautylish being like, hey, you spend a lot of money here. Do you want us to pre-order this for you? Like, yeah. And she's like, all right, we got your card on file, girl. As you can see, this beautiful lady is, as advertised, all matte, and there are so many options here. I'm really having trouble deciding, even to this moment, which direction I want to go in. And because the last Natasha Denona palette that I tried on my channel, which was the Tropic palette, it kicked my butt and I had to end up re-recording that video. I decided yesterday to start playing with this palette ahead of time, and I did one look on one eye, one look on the other eye. I ended up liking both. I put it up to you guys on Instagram which one you liked better. It was the purple one that you guys ended up going for, and there are some really beautiful purple shades in here. Masai, Lotus, this Voodoo shade is really beautiful. But then also I'm really tempted by Fata Morgana, Rhino, and Stone, because this is just like not an eyeshadow color that's in every palette. You know, this kind of weird pale turquoise gray. I'm just calling an audible right now. I'm gonna go with like Stone, Rhino, Fata Morgana, and just try and play in these kind of green blues today. I already have the makeup of my face on my face, and I already have eye primer on, so I'm gonna zoom you guys in, and we're just gonna start putting this on my eyeballs and hope that it doesn't end in disaster. Sound good? Alright. I have so many eyeshadow palettes right now. I told you guys I was at a loss about what I wanted to do on my channel for like a day, because there was nothing coming out, and then everything came out all at once. I ordered absolutely all of it, and then it all came in the mail in like a 3-day span, and I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. I have my videos set before me for like the next 2 months, and it's all eyeshadow palettes, so get ready. I'm going to pretend I know what the heck I'm doing here. One of the first things that I learned about a Natasha Denona palette, and really any palette that's going to be super pigmented like this, if you are unfamiliar with the brand, these are very beautiful, very highly pigmented, very professional level shadows. This palette goes for $129, and yes, I paid every penny of that. I think that one of the best safeguards against getting yourself into a total mess, which is something I'm prone to, is taking one of the pale shades, and thank God this palette actually has pale shades in it, the Tropic palette didn't, and just building like an extra layer of it on top of your primer. We usually will set the primer with like a light wash of the pale shade in a palette, but we're gonna go a little bit more today because I want it to have a really, really velvety, movable, kind of gesso layer under there, like Bob Ross style. And it's interesting how one of you guys kind of pointed out from a color theory standpoint the polarity, I guess, of this palette, because you end up with a lot of green blues that are kind of cool tone, and then you end up with some like orangey, olive, yellow. A lot of these things, if you were to mix them together, would make mud. That was the comment that she left. She's like, I really want to see somebody play with this from a color theory standpoint. What I find interesting to that point, it's almost like someone mapping out the scales of a song. It's like, you know, someone actually brought it all the way back to the color theory here, because these are very similar tones, but one is peach and one is like olivey yellow. And I just think that that's kind of a valuable touch, because me, if I saw those in 2 different palettes, I would assume that they were, you know, close enough, the same color. But after using these, I realized that one is going to complement the warm tones in the palette, and one's going to complement kind of the cooler tones in the palette, or the greens versus the reds, I guess you should say, because they're kind of all leaning cool. They all have a really interesting profile to them. Like, even Tribe over here, which is a red, which, you know, is about as warm as it gets, still has some blue-green in it. It's been darkened a little bit, it's been muted. They're all kind of muted. I'm not even sure that's enough of a layer, but that's what we're gonna work with today. And I'm going to start with Stone, because I'm so stinking excited to use it. This is such an unbelievable color. I just have never seen a beautiful kind of pale, dusty gray teal in a palette before. I loved using it yesterday, and I'm excited to use it some more. Let's use a flat brush. There we go. Really building this shade up. I guess probably because I'm avoiding going to the next thing. Like, this seems like the most innocuous shade, so I'm just kind of settling in with it. I will say that this is just a palette that doesn't look like anything else. I have a bunch of fall-y palettes kind of coming, and I've been taking some pictures of them grouped together, getting your ideas about like what ones you want me to try first and what you want me to do with them. And this one, while it does have some really pretty fall tones in it, it just has shades in it, like once you set it up next to other palettes, it just has shades in it that are just so obviously new and different and imaginative. And I think that that's like what I appreciate the most about this palette. I don't obviously think that this is like, you know, everybody's like go-to everyday palette, but I don't think that Natasha Denona is necessarily like in the business of putting out those kinds of palettes. I feel like Natasha Denona is, it's on par with like your Visearts, you know? It's like, hey, like here's a palette that you're gonna get your money's worth if you are really passionate about doing new things with makeup, basically. So we've got that going on, and I'm going to take Malia. It's either Malia or Malia, and it is kind of the pink pale shade. And I'm going to trace that up to the brow bone and sort of blend that in just ever so gently with that stone color. And it's gonna blend a little bit more easily because, well, there's already product on my brush, and also because there's already a pile of product on my eyeball that's going to help everything spread around more easily. But you can, like, honestly see that that's pink compared to Aya, which was very yellow. Ooh, I just love how this color builds. Wow, it's like, you know, I can throw a couple layers on, but the more I put on, kind of the more highlighted that gets. I like that. It's very cool toned though, which is definitely not in my comfort zone. So those of you asking for something outside of my comfort zone, well, we're doing that. I'll also be kind of interested to see what I want to do with my face after I get all this eye on, because I have a feeling it's going to make me change my mind about like blush and stuff that I already have on my face. Maybe make me rethink the lip. I'm not sure. Okay, we are going to go in with Rhino, which is this hunter green that leans just slightly blue, and I love her. And we're going to build kind of a new crease with it. I was having a lot of anxiety yesterday for, you know, God knows why. Mike always asks me, like, why are you anxious? And I was like, isn't that the point? Is that I don't need a reason. But I was having a lot of anxiety yesterday, and I actually, for the first time in my life, found that coming upstairs, sitting down in my beauty room, not filming, but just sitting down in my beauty room and playing with makeup calmed me so much. And I kind of got it, you know? I kind of like understood, I don't know, just like the enjoyment of it. A lot of times, and I think that I made this channel because, makeup has always kind of puzzled me. You guys are watching me learn to a large extent. It's kind of funny when people think that, you know, I'm a bad makeup artist. Like, if I wanted to make a channel on something that I was an expert in, I would have made a channel about hair, or marketing, or cooking. I'm pretty darn good at cooking. And it's just not, I'm not interested. First of all, when I make videos about things that I'm actually really either passionate about or really good at, a lot of times I'm like editing and I sound really like aggressive and angry, and it's because I have really strong feelings about something, and you don't really get to see a quote-unquote first impression ever, like a very sincere someone trying something for the first time. It's just very like tainted by theory and by having done it for so many years, and especially with just the experience of like other people giving you their ideas and their like input on everything over the years. And I'm just using a little bit of stone, the original color, to kind of blend that in, and it's actually blending really beautifully. I'm just going to kind of continue layering those until I'm happy with it. So that's why I have a makeup channel, is because I wanted to reframe my relationship with makeup. Makeup has always been kind of this obligation in my life. I was a hairstylist starting at age 17, and I remember just being required to look a certain way, and that feeling really suffocating to me. And so reframing makeup in this way that like is a fun learning experience, and no, like I'm not proficient. It's not the point. Like, I know most of you guys get that, but sometimes I have to remind myself, because people love to remind me that I'm not good at doing makeup, and I'm like, I know. I'm trying really hard. If that counts for anything, I am trying really hard. Okay, I'm going to go in with Fata Morgana right here, this beautiful deep, deep turquoise. And I'm going to really fill in right here on the outer edge of my lid. Well, I thought I was. There we go. You guys, I may have put down, it's gonna sound crazy, I may have put down too much product. And then now it won't stick. See, we're all learning here today. I need to do some research on what like a Fata Morgana is. Maybe I'll look that up. Well, we want it outside my comfort zone. Here we are. I'm gonna go in with Voodoo. Yes, that's going to make mud, but it's going to add a cool toned depth to the kind of new lid that we created, quote unquote. Voodoo actually, while I was playing around yesterday, became like my favorite shade in the palette, because it's just such a beautiful kind of perfect purpley brown. It's kind of good for everything. I'm not freaking out yet, are you? So I'm going to take a larger fluffy brush here. I don't think I can find one. There's no product on this. I'm just going to blend around the edges of that blue a little bit. When I used to work with oil pastels, especially when I was a kid, I found that the best thing was at the end taking a white oil pastel and blending everything together and just kind of creating like an all over, almost like a painterly texture. These are the only references that I have for my choices in makeup. What I did in art school. Because this is an all matte look, I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to kind of highlight the lid right here a little bit, and maybe a lot of it, I haven't decided yet, and then kind of also work underneath my lash line here. I'm gonna go with that same pinky tone. Yeah. Oh, hey girl. Ooh, yes. Oh my god, they layer beautifully. Look at that. That makes such a difference. I'm just kind of irritated that this like is dodging. There we go. It's like this piece of skin doesn't want me to put product on it. So look at the difference between those two eyes, just because I put that highlight on the lid. This is like the most velvety texture too. They're all the same texture, obviously, because they are all the NATASHA DENONA kind of matte formula. I don't like that I can't see what I'm doing with my right hand on my left eye. And I realized too how much I kind of lean on sparkles. I like sparkles, and it's easy to kind of use them to finish a look. When you're painting with just mattes, you really have to get the shadow and light in the right places. I'm going to use a little baby brush here, and I'm going to use Malia, and then I'm actually going to pull some Lotus in there too. But I want to make kind of an ethereal thing happen down here, but also kind of smoky. And it is kind of cool how, even though these are, like, I'm working with very cream kind of colors, they have a huge, like, saturation punch on them. And so you can actually get a lot of color payoff from a shade that you kind of would normally think of as like a throwaway. And I'm just blending right around the tear duct so that I don't end up with that kind of messy shadow on the inside. I think that that's what makes an eye look really messy on me a lot of times, is that I end up having a lot of kind of darker tones too far in on my nose, and it makes it just look like I didn't do a good job cleaning up. And so I'm also going to take just a little bit, like I said, of Lotus right here, which is just one of my favorite kind of colors. It's that pretty dusty rose color, and I'm gonna go right below where my pupil would kind of be centered. And that's gonna, I mean, first of all, I just think it's cool looking, but it's also going to, like, make my eyes look a little bit bigger and more open. And I kind of want to take that Lotus color, because we've sort of created like this combination of shades right here where the blue hits the pink, and it sort of makes that Lotus shade happen. And so I'm going to take, I'm actually going to clean this brush off because I really don't want it to get muddy. But I'm going to take some Lotus and just use that to blend in right above all the color in the transition area. It's very subtle. We're just kind of embracing what was kind of already happening. So, it's a lot of eyes for not a lot of face right now, so I'm going to throw on some liner and some mascara and probably some more blush and stuff, and I'll kind of catch you guys up on those decisions that I made after the fact, but I will see you guys in just a second. How'd I do? Did I do okay? I think it looks pretty good. So I used some of the Thrive Cosmetics Infinity Waterproof Eyeliner in Lauren, which is just a really awesome deep black. It does a great job of blending using a, well, one of these. A little eyeliner fine brush. It does a really, really good job of spreading it out, kind of making a nice wing, and really bold, high impact black, which I really, really like against the cool tones on the eyes, and also this nice kind of like matte highlight that's going on the lid. I went very muted with the rest of the face, and what I think kind of happened is that I managed to kind of pull the pinks, the little bit of pink that we used as a highlight on the eyes, kind of out with the rest of these sort of nudie tones on the rest of my face. I am super into this look, you guys. I'm really pleased with this palette, and I was like trying to do the thing that intimidated me the most out of it, which was working with these colors that are just basically the opposite end of the spectrum from my natural skin tone. Obviously, it's going to be easier to work in a grouping of colors that are close to your skin tone because everything blends. It's not as high contrast. You don't have to work as hard. So I wanted to really challenge myself today, and these colors blend so beautifully. This is Stone and Rhino and Voodoo, I think it's called. A bunch of just really beautiful shades in this palette that if you come in with a plan and a pretty measured touch and you're patient with it, you can get some really great high definition, high contrast colors out of it. I think that that's probably I'm learning, I guess, the best thing about a palette that is A, all matte, and B, offers this kind of high saturation pigment, is that you can play with contrast. Everything stays really distinct as long as you keep it really distinct, and it layers really, really beautifully. So we managed to get a very unmuddy look out of this, which I'm very proud of. Thank you very much. And gosh, I mean, honestly, if I can wear these shades in the palette, I can wear anything in the palette. And so I definitely am going to keep playing with this palette. Many palettes that I try on my channel, I end up doing a couple of looks with, and then I'm like, I just don't reach for it again. This is going to be in heavy rotation. This is a very exciting palette to me. I love working within parameters. I like when instead of a blank canvas, I'm given kind of a set of tools to work with and some limitations to work around. And I think that this being all matte fits in my brain really nicely. I like the idea of an all matte palette with these colors in it because it's fun to play in and it's fun to challenge myself in, but I don't have so many options that I'm overwhelmed. Let me move you guys out. So yeah, I think it kind of goes without saying this palette's just kind of a 10 out of 10. It is totally undisappointing from the standpoint of a NATASHA DENONA palette. I think that anybody who goes and spends $129 on this palette because they're excited about the pigmentation and about the ability to paint with these colors and it be highly, highly saturated is just not going to be disappointed. I think that you can get like hundreds of looks out of this palette, and so let me know, guys. Of course, you guys already did, and I had to make a decision because I only have one face, but let me know what other color stories you guys want me to try, and we can do it in a future Get Ready With Me or something like that. If there are any other looks with this palette that you definitely want to see, hit me down below. I will try and accommodate as many requests as possible. Let me know what you think about this extremely cool-toned, out of my comfort zone kind of eye look today. I'm actually going to continue wearing it today. I don't have anything special to do, but it's not one of those like over-the-top rainbow eyes that I'm like, well, I can't leave the house looking like this. People be like, where's she going or where did she just come from? But anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, do give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, guys, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you did. Thank you guys so much for watching and for being the sweet, amazing human beings that you are. Say something nice in the comments. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.